אל אדון על כל המעשים ברוך ומבורר בפי כל נשמה גודלו וטובו מעל לעולם דעת ותבונה סובבים עודו המתגאה על חיות הקודש ונדע בכבוד על המרכבה זכות ומשול לפני חיסו חסד ורחמים עליכם.
Hello everyone, in honor of Tu Bishvat, a day in which the Shulchan Aruch paskins nahagush shelo lipol al pneihem betu be'av velo betu bishvat. We don't say Tachanun, and when it comes out on a Monday, people are even happier. My question is why? What's so special about this date? So indeed, the Mishnah in Rosh Hashanah talks about the various Rosh Hashanahs of the year. One of them is for the trees, and we paskin like the Beit Hillel that says that on Tu Bishvat, the 15th of the month of Shvat, it's Rosh Hashanah to the trees. Explains the Gemara there on Daf Yud Dalid Amud Aleph of Rosh Hashanah. Af al pi sherov tkufa mibachutz ho'il v'yatzu rov gishmei shana. Even though it's still winter, bottom line is most of the rain already happened. We can begin to see that the spring and then the summer is coming because most of the rain passed us. Indeed, this day is warranted not to say Tachanun just because it's the beginning of seeing the spring. I believe this is consistent with something we do all year. And I heard this years ago from Rav J.J. Schachter, one of my most beloved teachers. He said, how come we make a huge ceremony from the Bikurim, the first fruits taken from the 7 species of Israel? They're not yet ripe, but there's a huge ceremony of going into your field, already putting a little band around those first fruits, eventually taking them up to Yerushalayim. People come and march, and we bring them to the Kohen, and it's so gorgeous. But when the fruit is finally ripe and ready, then there's something called Bidui Maser, which doesn't have all this ceremony in it. Eventually, you say, I done everything right. But there's no ceremony with it. Explained by J.J. Schachter.
Truma and Meiser is an offering from that which has already been accumulated. What's Bikurim? Bikurim is the opposite. Bikurim is an offering from that which is yet to come. The focus of Meiser and Truma is the past. The focus of Bikurim is the future.
In Judaism, we're more excited about what the future holds than when it's over. When the fruit is already ripe, we know the way it is, and therefore there's nothing more to hope for. But when it's just ripening, then you have hope for the future. And now I'm adding to his words, so anything you don't like from here on is my responsibility. It's not a limited case just to the first fruits versus the ripened fruits. It seems to be consistent the entire year. And allow me to give a few halachic examples. In Parshat Bo, we read that at Bechatzi Alayla, at midnight, God came and did that final plague of Makat Bechorot, of the slaying of the firstborn. And yet, when we each and every year celebrate our emergence from Egypt, the halacha is clear. We should do everything possible before midnight. We paskin, we have to eat that afikomen before midnight if possible. And the Ramah adds in the name of the Ran that even Hallel said after the afikomen should be finished by midnight. So basically the 4 cups of wine are drunk before the event even happened. Once again, an example where before it happened, the belief in the future is far more important than when it actually happened. And indeed, it's not just the 4 cups of wine, but ultimately what we say in Hallel. The Tosefta in Psachim, Perek Yud, subdivision Tet, asks, how much of the Hallel do you say on the Seder night before the meal? According to the Beit Shammai, until Eba Manim Smecha. Why? Because the next paragraph is B'tzeit Yisrael Mimitzrayim, when they left Egypt. They didn't leave Egypt before midnight, and therefore it seems a little ludicrous to say that before that happened. But Beit Hillel says no. Ad lechalamish l'mayno mayim vechoteim begeula. You say the B'tzeit Yisrael Mimitzrayim before midnight, even though they didn't get out till way after midnight. So indeed, according to the Beit Hillel, we say Hallel in the belief that the Jewish people will get out. Once they got out, we know the final product. It's hard to say a Hallel. But before they got out, the belief in the future is far more exciting than when the future already came to pass. As a matter of fact, taking the opposite of Pesach, on the same day of the week it comes out, Tisha B'Av, that's exactly what we do. We don't say Tachanun on Tisha B'Av. And the reason is, according to the Shulchan Aruch, Mishum de Ikre Moed. Because one day it will be a holiday. And the belief in that future already dictates now that we don't say Tachanun. Interestingly enough, the Levush says, how come we don't print an Eicha to read from in a Megillah, like we do for the other Megillas, Kohelet and Shir HaShirim, etc.? Because, and I quote, Mishum sha'anu mechakim u'metzapim b'chol yom, שיהפך לנו יום זה לששון ולשמחה למועד. ואם היו כותבים מגילת איכה, היה נראה כי מייאשין מן הגאולה, חס ושלום. If you print a Megillah, it's going to look like it's going to be there forever. It costs a lot of money to get a sofer, commission him to write it. But if you don't print it, but rather you read it out of a flimsy book, you believe in that future that this day will yet change. And finally, Shavuos. We have an ancient tradition that the year the Jewish people left Egypt was exactly like this year. They left on a Thursday, and then they got the Torah on Shabbos. If you do the math, that means that they got the Torah on the 7th of Sivan and not the 6th. So how come we celebrate Shavuos, at least the first day, on the 6th? Very strange. Explains the Maharal that the reason is because on the 6th they were ready to receive the Torah. They believed in that beautiful lifestyle that the Torah will bring. And yet, that's not the case on the 7th. And they already got it. They know it. They have it. It's ripened. But before it's ripened, it's much more exciting. In the words of Rab Levi Yitzchak Mibarditchev in his Kedushat Levi, Nimtza muchach, the Beshisha B'Sivan ayu muchanim lekabel Torah. They were ready on the 6th of Sivan. For whatever reason, it was pushed off for another day. But we celebrate the excitement of what will be, not what was. And finally, let's go to the Bechor. We all know that something called Pidyon Haben, when you have a firstborn, and the question is why? All the baby knows how to do is cry and scream, and that's about it. Explains the Maharal in a beautiful way. The Fishe'en Ra'u L'Kadesh Rak Davar Shehu Reshit HaMitziyut. Umitzat Shehu Reshit HaMitziyut, הוא קדוש מן אשר נמצא אחריו. כי ראשית המציאות יש בו קדושה תמיד, שהרי השם יתברך הוא ראשית מציאות הכל גם כן. The beginning of the reality is much more exciting than the reality itself. And that's why Tu Bishvat is such a happy day to skip Tachanun. It is the beginning of a reality that has not yet come, and therefore we're more excited about it.
Tu Bishvat, Shvat, Shvat. Tu Bishvat, Shvat, Shvat. Tu Bishvat, Shvat, Shvat. It's Rosh Hashanah. For the trees, it's Tu Bishvat, Shvat, Shvat. Say Shecheyanu, if you please, on Tu Bishvat, Shvat, Shvat.